So what are your thoughts? Because now I like this Big 12 talk. Let
me put up the superior list real quick. There we go.
Please do, because I don't want anybody scrolling through Twitter seeing like this is a live video out there right now, seeing like, what the hell's Pete Souza still got friggin'
they need to see the superior list. Yeah.
The superior list. So what are your thoughts about no preseason rankings for the Big 12? You know that's happening, right?
I did see that.
They've done away with the top 25 preseason.
No. I thought
I'm sorry. With the preseason.
The AP is still going to put out their top 25.
With the preseason.
Which I think is a way bigger problem than a preseason poll.
Okay.
I think preseason polls by media create a lot of really fun conversation. I think it helps promote your conference. I don't know how it hurts you. That's what I haven't seen in this conversation is like, how is the preseason poll for the Big 12 hurting the conference?
Well, I can tell you, and I think I might have some decent insight.
Tell me.
And this is like as a guy who like, and this isn't too.
Have you gotten a vote in any of these?
No, I haven't. But and this isn't too much like inside baseball. But I know last year when we were doing, I'm going to do it again this year. Inside the 12, college football, college basketball show. You can see it on all your local Big 12 markets and on YouTube. But we a lot of times last year. We would have in the show, and we would really illustrate how badly prognosticators got that wrong.
Me too.
I mean, it was the talk of the season, really. For remember that, like,
yeah.
And at no point was anybody like, these idiots don't know what they're doing. I know I didn't think that because I know that once the season starts, the school's out. Bullets start flying, like. And with the injuries, right, for both Oklahoma State and Utah at the quarterback position, Oklahoma State, I
had them in the Big 12 championship game preseason last year.
We didn't understand that quarterback. You know who did understand was Drake Toll. He was all over that quarterback situation. Alan Bowman was not that good. And I think that I thought he was going to be good enough, and he was not. But I think there was maybe a little bit of like, I don't want to say embarrassment, but like, it was like, okay, this is a lot. All season long, all we did was talk about how the teams predicted to finish last were first. And the teams
but that created a better sports story.
Did it though?
Yes. The fact that nobody knew anything about Kenny Dillingham and how good he was going to be. The fact that nobody knew that the best player, arguably in the country, but certainly in the conference, was going to be in the backfield at Arizona State. That made that ascendancy to me as a Big 12 fan who didn't participate in these polls, right?
Yeah.
But watching what Arizona State was able to do, that like completed the underdog story, and I don't know. I liked it.
I think
it made it intriguing.
I think that there's a possibility that the powers that be, and I have no insight on this, but the powers that be were like, that looks a little Mickey Mouse. Like we're trying to punch with the heavyweights, right? I mean, you never see Vanderbilt get picked last and finish atop the SEC.
Okay, but here's the Big 12 defenders. Like me, I'm amongst them.
I'm not. Look.
The way we defend the Big 12 is not to say that champion Arizona State is equivalent to champion Georgia. The way we advocate for the Big 12, and this has been true for over a decade. This has been true since Baylor and TCU were fighting to get in the first playoff in 2014.
Yeah.
The way we advocate for the Big 12 is our top dogs can't always be your top dogs, no doubt. But top to bottom, this is the most competitive conference in America.
Oh, yeah.
And I think last year illustrates that. So you're saying it's embarrassing. Who is it embarrassing for? Not the conference. I think it's embarrassing for the media, maybe. But I don't see how that hurts the conference at all. And maybe I'm just ignorant or blind to it. I don't know.
Well, there's another thing at play here too, and I think that it's a shrewd move by the Big 12 is to get transparent about the fact that with all the movement in college football,
you don't know
what side is up. So anybody predicting these teams, like you don't.
But
no, I'm serious. You don't know. Even with Texas Tech, like you have all these resources that have come to town, right? You've got like this blitz of great players, right? Like former 5 stars, current 5 stars, whatever. But you still got Baron Morton is your quarterback.
Yeah, they could finish first or eighth in the
They
conference.
could.
We don't know.
They could, and I don't want them to finish eighth, but like that's how wide open I think it is, and I believe that when the transfer portal probably has more to do with it than anything.
Yeah.
I really do. I think it's very hard to get a firm handle on what is going on in college football today.
Yeah. I think so. I agree with your sentiments. I guess my thing is a preseason conference poll doesn't bear a lot of weight when we get to the mid-season. Like by mid-season, we were like, oh crap, everyone was wrong. Oklahoma State sucks and Arizona State.
It doesn't matter though.
What does matter, and what I wish we would eliminate, is the AP preseason top 25, because that is often weighted heavily toward big name programs, heavily toward the SEC. Texas was in that preseason poll every season, even in like 2016 when they were like a 5-win team in the Big 12. Texas was in the preseason AP top 25, right? And I think that has potential to negatively influence like a playoff committee, negatively influence like Baylor, for instance, and we've experienced this before 10 years ago. When you start outside that AP top 25, you almost have to prove 6, 7, 8 weeks in. You have to be undefeated, and then you might be ranked like 10, 9. Like, oh, we've climbed in there because we're proving it. Whereas if you start number 2, you lose 3 games, but then you win 6, well, now you're number 10. Because there's this bias, there's a confirmation bias that happens with that top 25. I don't know that has any like reality in a conference preseason poll, but it definitely has a reality in the national conversation.
That's an astute point. What would you do if you do away with that? How do you come into the season measuring these teams? And because it's a huge, forget about the fact that it's an awesome conversation piece for college football, and it lends to the sport and its excitement and anticipation and hype and ultimately TV ratings, blah, 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 blah. I mean, when the season starts, to have those rankings up on the screen is alluring.
But it's stupid.
It is.
Like what? Like
it is in some respects.
Who's pumped if they put out the rankings next week and Clemson is number 4? Like, Dabo Swinney doesn't care. That team hasn't earned anything. They could end the season with 4 losses.
Yeah.
Like, it's just I find the preseason rankings to be weird.
Yeah, but we need them.
And so okay. This now we're missing each other, and I'm confused.
Yeah.
Why is it smart to get rid of the Big 12 preseason poll?
Because it doesn't mean anything. Because you and I just said it has nothing to do with like how the postseason.
But why does that same logic not apply to the AP top 25?
Because I think
because that doesn't mean anything either, and it's based on nothing.
Well,
and it does influence outcomes.
So then it does mean something.
So we shouldn't do it.
Well,
is my argument.
But I feel like it's all like you kind of harness. I mean, there are so many teams in Division I football.
Yes.
Right? And they're all fighting for these, like, it's not like the NCAA where you have like 68 teams getting in or whatever.
But none of us need the preseason August AP poll to tell us who's going to be good. None of us need that.
You don't need it.
No, anybody who watches any amount of Saturday football.
But my dad would have. It's not so.
So do it after week 3. Give it 3 weeks.
Okay.
Put out your first AP.
I'm not here. I'm not here to be like somebody who's totally like arguing with you. Like, okay, I mean, do that.
So here's a question, because I don't remember. Was Florida State ranked in the AP top 25 going into last season?
Oh yeah, they were.
How asinine is that?
Yeah, they were. Yeah, they were.
How freaking stupid is that? Yeah. That's way worse than anybody thinking Arizona State wasn't going to be good last year. Yeah. That's ridiculous.
Well, and now you got the other side of it where it can really screw you up if you're like a coach or if you're a quarterback because the expectations are out of control.
Well, so that's my point, right? If you're at Florida State and you're ranked top 25 and then you finish so badly, it puts unnecessary weight on your coach, your team, whatever. This is gonna happen. I'm just telling you, it's gonna happen with Baylor this season. If you're ranked outside the top 25, you're gonna have to go 8-0 to get into the top 5. When really you might have been able to start there from the jump.
I'm gonna tell you something. It's gonna be hard for you to digest.
Tell me.
So
I know I'm biased.
The NCAA, not the NCAA, college football as a whole, right? They're not so much worried about you because you're in.
I'm worried about.
No. But you're in. right?
Yeah,
as
right.
far as a fan and the interest and the passion, you're in.
You're right.
Now, there's other people who are like, I'm kind of in. And all of a sudden that poll comes out. And all of a sudden the conversation starts. It's real football talk, as close as it can come. College football cares more about bringing those people to the table than it does giving you your second helping.
Yeah,
And,
but
and also, too, one more thing, and I hate to be this guy because I am the king of the underdogs, but you've definitely got like some Baylor PTSD that you're bringing to this conversation.
I do.
Yeah.
Totally.
Like,
1,000%.
And
2014 was very hard.
but I'll tell you too, like you shouldn't have that because Baylor is in the Big 12. Like they're not like a group of 6 or whatever the hell they call them now teams.
Yeah.
Like Baylor legit. If Baylor goes and kicks ass this year, they'll get to the playoffs.
You're right.
We're not talking about like Delaware moving up to Division I for the first time.
You're right.
Or Coastal Carolina, who's been there going on a run. So I don't think it could concern you as a fan that much, but I also, as a very knowledgeable college football fan, I am here for all your insight on that.
Yeah, I just find it, I guess.
And surely your argument is better than mine. I wasn't prepared for this.
I wasn't either. I find it funny if it's like, well, getting rid of the Big 12 preseason poll is smart, but let's keep the national ranking that's also literally based on nothing but hype.
Yeah.
I just think that's...
What is the number one argument as to why we should keep it?
I don't know. I'm asking you for that.
Yeah. I gave you mine.
Yeah.
I think it's for... Yeah. I really do believe... I believe it's to generate interest for the casual fan outside of the sport and to give the college football playoff committee, unfortunately, and this is where
that's what's screwed about
a blueprint.
Right, but that's what's screwed about it. It's like, was it Georgia Tech that beat Florida State in week 1?
In Ireland.
Oh, yeah. And everyone's like, whoa, Georgia Tech, that's incredible. Look, they might be a playoff team. And Georgia Tech was decent last year. Like, they were pretty good, turns out. But that win meant nothing, actually, in the scope of the season.
And you're serving, like, the point that I'm trying to make is that Joe Tessitore calling that game in Ireland, the first game of the football season with a ranked Florida State team getting upset.
Yeah.
That was great TV.
And it looks stupid 2 months later.
But in the moment, it generates, right, the interest. It brings people to the table.
Yeah.
So there's two sides of this. All right, we'll take a break. We'll wrap it up. That was actually a great little conversation.